Attention is her true addiction. Most men completely miss this. They think women are chasing love, commitment, or even money. But what truly feeds most women's ego is attention. It doesn't matter if it's coming from a man she likes, a man she's unsure about, or a man she would never date in a million years. Attention is like oxygen to her. Take it away, and you instantly disrupt the comfortable little reality she's built around herself. Think about how many women live on Instagram, TikTok, or even dating apps without ever planning to meet anyone. They post, they scroll, they collect likes and messages like trophies. It's not about finding a connection, it's about stacking validation, feeling wanted, feeling adored. Now, when you're the guy blowing up her phone, complimenting her constantly or always being available, you're feeding that addiction. You become one of many, just another energy source she can tap into whenever she wants a boost. She doesn't need to like you. She doesn't even need to respect you. She just needs you to keep giving. Here's where it gets real. The moment you stop offering that attention freely, she feels the withdrawal like a drug addict missing a fix. She notices, even if she pretends she doesn't, even if she acts colder. Deep down, she's wondering why the flow stopped. Why did the attention she thought she could get anytime suddenly dry up? Imagine you're messaging a girl every day, and she responds with short, dry answers. Most guys keep pushing, thinking, if I just try harder, she'll like me. Wrong. Instead, imagine one day you just stop. You don't get mad. You don't announce it. You just disappear. No calls, no texts, no likes on her posts. Silence. At first, she'll act like she didn't even notice. Give it time. Let the silence grow. If she's even slightly interested, or if she just misses the attention, you'll see her energy shift. She might pop up with a random text, a story view, a comment. Why? Because she's craving the validation that used to be there, and now it's gone. Attention is power, and when you withdraw it, you remind her, and yourself, who's really in control. Why chasing lowers your value? The second you start chasing a woman, you automatically lower your value in her eyes. It doesn't matter how handsome, rich, or charming you are. Chasing is a psychological signal that says, I need you more than you need me. And once a woman feels that imbalance, she stops seeing you as a challenge and starts seeing you as an option. Or worse, a backup. The harsh truth is, women are biologically wired to want men who are wanted by others, not men who are begging for attention. When you chase, you tell her she's the prize. And you're just another guy hoping she picks you. There's no mystery, no tension, no reason for her to value you, because you've already shown her that you value her way more. Women don't respect what's easily given. They respect what they have to work for. That's why guys who don't chase often have women wondering about them, obsessing over them, trying to figure out what makes them so different. Chasing ruins that. It screams insecurity and desperation without you even realizing it. Picture this. You meet a woman at a party. You have a great conversation, some chemistry. She gives you her number. Most guys would start texting immediately, trying to keep the momentum going, pouring on compliments, setting up dates, sending memes to stay relevant. In doing so, they show her that she's already won. She doesn't have to put in any effort. She can sit back and soak up the attention while deciding if she's even interested. Now imagine the opposite. After getting her number, you don't rush. You wait a few days, you stay calm, detached. When you finally reach out, you're brief, confident, and make it clear you have a full life already. No over-explaining, no emotional vomiting. Suddenly, you're not the guy chasing her. You're the guy she's wondering about. And curiosity builds attraction faster than compliments ever could. The less you chase, the more she feels like she has to earn your attention. And when she has to earn it, she values it. Remember, the man who is willing to walk away holds all the power. Chasing tells her you're not that man, and she'll treat you exactly like that. How indifference creates desire. Nothing messes with a woman's mind more than genuine indifference. Not fake pretending, not acting cold, while secretly obsessing over her. real calm indifference that says, I'm good with or without you. That's the energy women aren't used to. That's the energy that flips the dynamic without you even saying a word. Most men don't realize how rare that is. Women are used to being the ones who get chased, complimented, begged for attention. They know most guys will fold at the first sign of beauty or a little interest. So, when you're the one who doesn't seem fazed, when you don't jump through hoops just because she smiled at you, it shakes her reality. It forces her to reevaluate how valuable you must be if you're not reacting like every other man. Indifference isn't about playing games. It's not about ignoring women out of bitterness or trying to punish them. It's about having enough self-respect that you don't hand over your emotional energy to someone just because they're attractive. It's about showing through your actions that your life is already full. And anyone who wants a place in it has to genuinely add value, not just expect it. When a man is indifferent, it tells a woman something she doesn't often hear. You are not the center of my world. And whether she admits it or not, that creates tension inside her. It makes her wonder why she doesn't have the automatic effect on you that she has on others. It challenges her ego. And where there's tension, there's potential for attraction to grow. It's funny because, deep down, everyone wants what they can't easily have. When you show a woman that her beauty or attention doesn't automatically impress you, you become the one thing she doesn't fully understand. And people crave what they don't fully understand. Indifference also protects you. It keeps you from over-investing in someone who hasn't earned it yet. It keeps you focused on your purpose, your goals, and your peace, instead of losing yourself trying to impress someone who was never really yours to begin with. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to be cold. You just have to be solid, unmoved. Let her feel that your world keeps spinning whether she's in it or not. That's the real power of indifference. It makes you unforgettable without trying. Silence hurts more than words. Men need to wake up badly. Most guys still believe that the best way to fix things with a woman is by talking more, explaining more, apologizing more, trying harder. But the brutal truth is, words don't move a woman's heart the way silence does. In fact, sometimes silence says everything she needs to hear, louder than any speech you could ever give. When you go silent, it sends a very different kind of message. I respect myself enough to not beg for your attention. I don't need to argue for my worth. I'm not here to audition for a role in your life. Most men are too scared to sit in that silence. They're addicted to the idea that if they just explain themselves better, or show more affection, or double text her one more time, somehow they'll win her over. That mindset is weak. It puts you in the position of a servant, not a king. And guess what? She feels that energy. She knows when a man is desperate to be heard, and it repels her. Not because she's evil, but because it shows you're not centered within yourself. Women don't crave a man who needs to talk his way back into their lives. They crave a man who can walk away with dignity and never look back. When you choose silence over chasing, it shifts the dynamic completely. It forces her to sit with her own actions. It forces her to feel the emptiness that you used to fill. It forces her to wonder why you're not chasing, why you're not begging, why you seem perfectly fine without her. That silence is uncomfortable for her, and that's exactly the point. Men who can't master silence are men who stay stuck in the same cycles, chasing, begging, getting ghosted, and feeling worthless. If you want different results, you have to become different. You have to realize that every time you try to talk your way into a woman's heart, you're giving away a piece of your masculine power. Strong men don't over-explain themselves. Strong men don't chase approval. Strong men let silence do the heavy lifting, and it does. If she cares, she'll notice the silence. If she doesn't, then you just dodged a bullet. Either way, you win. Make her wonder, not feel safe. A lot of men make the mistake of trying to be the safe guy, the guy who's always available, always kind, always reassuring. But here's the problem with that. Safety doesn't spark attraction. It might make her comfortable, but comfort is the enemy of desire. And if you're only the safe, reliable guy, you're the one she turns to when she's bored, not when she's looking for excitement or passion. You've got to create mystery. You've got to make her wonder where you are, why you're not texting back, why you're not chasing her every move. When a woman knows exactly where you are, what you're doing, and how you feel, she starts to take you for granted. You become a predictable part of her day, like her morning coffee. And nobody's excited about a cup of coffee they've had 1,000 times. Now, I'm not saying you should play games or be deceptive, but you need to keep an element of unpredictability in the relationship. Don't always be the guy who's texting her first. Don't always be the one who drops everything to hang out whenever she feels like it. You don't need to make her feel unsafe, but you do need to make her wonder about you, question what you're up to, and get curious about your intentions. When you stop making yourself so available, her brain starts filling in the gaps. She wonders why you're not texting back immediately. She wonders why you're so busy and why you're not always there for her like everyone else. The result? She starts investing more of her energy into figuring you out. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about creating enough space that she feels a pull toward you instead of just an expected, comfortable presence. You see, the reason a lot of men get stuck in the friend zone is because they've made themselves too safe and predictable. They've given up their mystery, their edge. And women? They need that unpredictability to stay intrigued. When you're too safe, you become background noise. But when you give her something to chase, something to wonder about, you start commanding her attention in a way that feels exciting. You don't need to be rude, but you do need to be a little bit elusive. Keep her on her toes, make her feel that spark of uncertainty. Because that's when she'll start looking at you differently. And that's when you'll start getting noticed for the right reasons. Validation is her real game. Let's get real for a second. Women are always testing how much value you place on them. It's not about being rude or playing games. It's about testing your boundaries, your attention, your worth. The sad part? Most guys fail the test without even realizing it. They spend too much time validating her, boosting her ego, and making her feel like she's the queen of the universe. And in doing so, they make themselves less valuable, not more. You've heard the term validation seeking, right? It's what women do when they want constant reassurance about their looks, their personality, or their worth. The key is, the more you validate her, the less she respects you. Why? Because the moment you start putting her on a pedestal, you're telling her you don't have anything better to do with your time or energy than to constantly reassure her. You've got to stop chasing her approval. Stop responding to her every text immediately. Stop showering her with compliments just because she's wearing a nice dress. You've got to wake up and realize that you are the prize. And the more you act like it, the more she will too. Most guys get this backwards. They think, if I just give her enough compliments, if I praise her enough, if I tell her she's the best thing that ever happened to me, she'll finally fall for me. Wrong. All you're doing is showing her that you have no other options and are willing to settle for her validation. She'll sense that desperation and it'll push her away, not pull her in. What you need to understand is that validation is a game, a power play. She's looking for a man who doesn't need her validation to feel complete. A man who can stand on his own and say, I don't need your approval. I'm good with or without it. When you show her you're not trying to validate her, you've taken control of the dynamic. She starts working harder for your approval because she now realizes it's earned. You need to stop feeding into her desire for constant validation. Instead, validate yourself. Be confident enough in who you are, in your own worth, that you don't need her to tell you how amazing you are. That's when you'll see the shift. That's when she'll start to pay more attention to you, because now you're the one playing the game, not just reacting to it. She'll always test you. Here's the harsh truth. She's always testing you. It's not because she's trying to play games or mess with your head. but because deep down, she wants to see if you have what it takes. Women test men all the time, consciously or subconsciously, to check for one thing: strength, strength of character, strength of will, strength of confidence. But here's the kicker: most guys fail these tests because they're too eager to please, too quick to back down, and too ready to bend to her will. They want to be liked. They want to avoid conflict. So they give in, they backpedal, they apologize when it's unnecessary, and they lose the respect of the very woman they're trying to impress. When she tests you, it's not an insult. It's not a challenge to prove your worth. It's a way for her to see how solid you really are. If you pass the test, you're showing her that you're strong enough to handle her, strong enough to handle the relationship, and strong enough to protect both your peace and hers. What's crazy is that these tests can be subtle. It might be her playing hot and cold, pretending she's not interested, or even challenging you on your opinions and decisions. The most dangerous test, the one that gets under your skin, where she pushes you to the point where you almost give in, just to avoid a fight. It's a test of your emotional stability. She's looking to see if you can remain unshaken, no matter what. But most men fall into the trap. They over-explain, they bend over backward to accommodate, and they immediately start doubting themselves. They're too afraid of conflict or rejection, so they surrender control and let her take the lead. That's when the dynamic shifts, and not in your favor. She starts seeing you as lesser, and trust me, that's not attractive. The secret to passing these tests is simple. Stay calm, stay firm, and never let her push you into a corner. If she's being difficult, let her be difficult. If she's testing your boundaries, hold your ground. You don't have to be aggressive, but you do need to stand up for yourself and stay consistent with your values. When you pass these tests, not only does she respect you more, but she'll also start to crave you more. Because, let's be honest, a woman doesn't want a man who is afraid of her tests. She wants a man who stands strong, who's unmoved by her little games, and who knows exactly what he wants. Make her feel like she's losing you. Here's a powerful truth that most men refuse to accept. If you want a woman to chase you, you have to make her feel like she's losing you. It's not about being manipulative, it's about understanding human nature. When someone feels like they might lose something, they value it more. And that applies to relationships, too. Most men are so eager to keep a woman that they overcompensate, texting too much, calling too often, and constantly reassuring her that they're here for her. But in doing so, they make themselves too available. When she knows you'll always be there, no matter what, she starts taking you for granted. You become a safety net, not a man she's actively pursuing. Now, I'm not suggesting you should ignore her completely, but you've got to create that feeling of distance, not in a rude or disrespectful way, but by simply pulling back on the attention. Give her some space. Be busy. Focus on your own life, your own goals. Stop being the one who initiates every conversation. Don't be the guy who always drops everything to meet her needs. This shift in behavior has a very powerful effect. When she feels like she might lose you, suddenly you become more desirable. Why? Because now she's wondering what you're up to, why you're not texting back right away, why you're not as eager to hang out. The uncertainty drives her crazy. And uncertainty? It breeds attraction. It makes her chase. But here's the thing. You can't fake it. You can't just pull away for a few hours and then expect her to come running. She'll see through that. This needs to be a real shift, not a game. If she sees that you're genuinely living your own life, that you have other things going on besides her, she'll start to realize she's not the center of your world. That's when she'll start to feel the loss. And when that happens, she'll want to reclaim what she thought was hers. You need to get comfortable with the idea of being okay without her, because when you do, she'll feel that energy. She'll sense that you're not desperate, not clinging, and that's when her attraction for you will start to rise. Her ego is your weapon. Here's the cold, hard truth that a lot of men refuse to face. Her ego is your weapon. And I'm not talking about using it in a cruel or manipulative way, but rather understanding that her ego is one of the most powerful forces in the dynamic between you two. Once you understand this, you can shift the power in your favor. The thing is, women, just like men, have egos. And while some might try to hide it or downplay it, the reality is that most women care about their image, how they're perceived, and their status in the eyes of others. They want to feel special, wanted, admired, and validated. But here's where the game gets interesting. You don't always have to feed her ego. In fact, sometimes withholding that validation is exactly what she needs. When you withhold validation or attention, you trigger something deep inside her. She starts questioning her worth and her value, especially in your eyes. This is where her ego starts working in your favor. Why? Because her ego will push her to prove herself to you. It wants to be fed, to be recognized. And if you don't give it to her right away, she'll start working harder to gain it. Let's be clear. You're not being rude or mean by withholding praise, but you're not being a yes man either. Think of it like a balancing act. She wants to feel admired, but you are in control of how much and when. By withholding validation just enough, you give her something to work toward, something to chase. This doesn't mean you should ignore her or act like you don't care. It's about timing. The more you show that you don't need to constantly praise her or put her on a pedestal, the more her ego will start pushing her to earn your respect, your attention, and your approval. And guess what? That is when she'll start pursuing you harder. It's all about creating a subtle power dynamic. Her ego will force her to prove herself worthy of your attention, and in doing so, she'll begin to value you in a way that only happens when she knows you're not easily won over. It's this very shift that makes her realize she has to put in effort to win your approval. When you control the flow of validation, her ego works for you, not against you. Don't let her control the narrative. Let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes men make in relationships: letting her control the narrative. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to fit into her story, trying to be what she wants you to be. You might even find yourself saying things just to make her happy, agreeing with everything she says, or letting her take the lead. But here's the thing. You're giving up control when you let her write the story, and that's a huge mistake. Women respect a man who stands his ground, who has a clear narrative of his own. If you allow her to dictate the relationship, to set the terms, or to shape the way you see yourself, you're not acting like the strong, confident man you need to be. You're becoming a character in her script instead of being the star of your own. It's natural for her to have an idea of what she wants in a relationship, but your narrative matters just as much, if not more. You need to be comfortable with yourself, with your goals, your boundaries, and your desires. When you do that, you no longer let her influence everything about you. You're not her puppet. The problem with letting her control the narrative is that you start to lose respect in her eyes. She might play along for a while, but sooner or later, she'll see you as someone who can be manipulated. She'll begin to lose attraction. Why? Because deep down, every woman wants a man who is confident in his own identity, someone who doesn't need her validation, and certainly doesn't need her approval to feel secure. So how do you take back control? Simple. Don't be afraid to stand firm on your values, your principles, and your expectations. If she doesn't like it, that's her problem, not yours. If you make it clear that you're not willing to compromise on your core beliefs just to keep the peace, you'll show her you're a man of substance. You have to remind yourself you are the one who sets the tone. Don't let her create the story where you're always the one trying to fit in. Instead, craft your own story and let her decide if she wants to be a part of it. Because when you stop letting her control the narrative, you'll find she starts respecting you in ways she never did before. Now, here's the thing most men will never tell you, but it's the hardest pill to swallow. The more you chase her, the less she'll want you. I know it sounds backwards, but it's the cold truth. You're conditioned to believe that constant pursuit, showing her how much you care, and giving her all your attention will win her over. But all you're doing is teaching her that you're desperate, and women are attracted to strength, not desperation. Think about it. If she knows you'll always be there, always ready to please, always eager to win her over, you're not really a challenge to her anymore. The more you chase, the more she'll pull away. And when she starts pulling away, that's when you start losing her, no matter how much attention or affection you throw her way. Here's the challenge for you. Stop chasing. Stop acting like you need her validation, her attention, her approval. When you stop chasing, that's when you start creating real attraction. It's about having the courage to step back, let her wonder, let her feel the loss. When you do this, you're not playing games. You're taking control of your own narrative. And that's exactly what makes you irresistible. It's time to wake up and start realizing your own worth. Women won't respect you if they think you're constantly trying to win them over. Respect yourself enough to stop trying to prove yourself and start showing her that you are the prize. You're the one who gets to decide who deserves your attention, not the other way around. Now, I know some of you may have different experiences or may not agree with everything I said, and that's fine. But I'd love to hear from you. Comment below and tell me your stories. Have you ever noticed this dynamic at play? Have you seen how withdrawing attention can change the way a woman responds to you? I'll personally reach out to anyone who comments, and we can have a real conversation about it. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content that's going to challenge your thinking, give you the edge you need, and teach you how to navigate the dynamics of attraction with confidence. You don't want to miss out on the insights I'm dropping in the next videos. This is about more than just getting the girl. It's about becoming the man who doesn't have to chase. So, hit that subscribe button, and let's build a community of men who know their worth and take control of their relationships. Until next time, stay strong and don't forget. The best way to attract her is to stop trying so hard to get her.